Today marks number 200 of our boring business reviews. Today's review will highlight an addiction treatment center, cash flowing $1.7 million a year. For location, they're based in Arizona. As listed, the seller has it as an asking price of $8 million. For the multiple, that's equivalent to 4.6 times annual cash flow. What does the company do? This facility focuses on both mental health and substance use disorders. For facility services, they offer outpatient addiction treatment, sober living program, and also a dual diagnosis. Will they work with you with both a mental health and a substance use disorder tied together? Their main focus on processes is for long-term sobriety. And for customer split, it's usually 20 to 25% self-pay and 75% from insurance. Taking a look at the metrics, it looks like as listed, they operate at 35% cash flow margin. If you look at those numbers on a monthly basis, it's well over $400,000 a month in revenue and just under $150,000 in cash flow. At 4.6 times, they're listed above SDE multiples in the industry. Given the interest from private equity here, there's a lot of capital that flows into the space, given why I have a higher multiple here for the listing at 4.6 versus 2.2. Additionally, the multiple here is on SDE. The number provided actually is more of an EBITDA number, so it might have a higher multiple for comparison. Hard to say, given we're only going off the public numbers in the listing. If you are able to go the SBA route, a potential deal might look something like this. Note here in the sources and uses, given you're at $8 million, you're going to go over the $5 million cap. You have to either put up more equity for something like this or get more pari passu lending or extended credit from the bank. Cash available to the new owner for reinvestment and dividends could be well over $650,000, pending any changes in due diligence. If it's easier to read, above is our back of the envelope math, the numbers as listed by the seller. Important to note, this is not our listing. We're just doing it for informational purposes only in case you find it interesting. Let's look at a few reasons why you might want to do the deal. One of the first things you think of is the rising addiction rates and mental health. There's been a massive increase in demand for mental health solutions. And on the bottom of the graph, you can see some of the conditions they deal with: mood disorders, psychiatric orders, anxiety disorders, but also substance abuse orders, eating disorders, personality disorders. They deal with a lot of different folks. In general, these companies have seen favorable financing terms because they have recurring revenue. The idea is to get customers in here and work with them over the long term. There's also high barriers to entry into in healthcare. There's a lot of licensing, accreditation, and also regulatory approvals that are not so easy to set up yourself. Moving on to concerns, you want to look at what percentage of their book is self-pay versus insurance, and also what percentage of those checks they're collecting. Take a deep dive into their accounts receivable. Number two, you want to look into regulatory and compliance risk. If any rules changed recently in the last 12 months, that would significantly impact the business. And finally, unknown liabilities. Unfortunately, this is one that's with all healthcare deals. You have to look into their past. Are there any prior lawsuits, bad press, or patients that have made public complaints against the company? Note, in between production and release, this one got taken off the market or is under contract, but wanted to make sure we highlighted a healthcare deal as we don't get a chance to enough. If you like the review, please follow, like, and follow along. We do a different boring business every day. There's a free database in our bio if you want to access any links. And finally, a disclaimer, please do your own research. You can lose more than 100% of what you put in. This is for informational, educational purposes only.